Unexpected captives. The lights flickered above as the cold metal door slammed shut. Tom sat up, confused and sore. His head ached, and his body felt like it had been thrown across a ship. That was probably true. The last thing he remembered was helping load supplies aboard the Starwind freighter. Then a sudden flash, a strange noise in darkness. Now, he was here. A prison cell. Gray walls, thick bars, and a ceiling barely high enough to stand upright. A soft hum came from behind the walls, maybe engines or machines. But what caught his attention wasn't the cell. It was who or what shared it with him. In the far corner sat a woman. Not human. She was tall, strong-looking, with silver markings on deep violet skin. Her hair flowed like strands of glowing light, shifting between blue and purple, almost alive. Her eyes were large and golden, watching him with calm interest. He tensed. She didn't move. Tom spoke first. "Where are we?" She answered in a soft, melodic voice. "You're awake. That's good." Her voice surprised him, not just the sound, but the sadness in it. "Who are you?" he asked. "I'm called Lyra," she said. "You are human?" "Yes, Tom," he replied, cautious. "How did we get here?" "I don't know," she answered. "I was fighting, and I woke up here with you." Tom noticed her arms were bruised. She looked tired, not dangerous. Still, he kept his guard up. The cell was small, barely enough room for two people. One bench, no windows, just the hum. There was no camera in sight, no visible control panel. Whoever had captured them wanted no communication. He sat down slowly, across from her. "You said you were fighting?" She nodded. "My people." "We're part of the Red Veil Resistance. We fight the Nerex Dominion." Tom blinked. "I've heard of them. Pirates, slavers." Lyra nodded again. "They kill or take what they want. Maybe that's what happened to us." Tom looked around. This doesn't look like a normal cell. And they wouldn't mix two species. "That's why I think it wasn't by mistake," she said. Her gaze sharpened. "They're watching us, but not to punish." Tom raised an eyebrow. "Then what?" "Testing," she whispered. He went quiet. That thought made his skin crawl. Tom moved closer, trying to see if there was anything odd about the room. "I don't get it." "Why you and me?" Lyra hesitated. "We're compatible." Tom froze. "Compatible? For what?" She turned her head toward him slowly. "You don't feel it yet, do you?" "What?" She stood. Her body moved gracefully, despite the bruises. She came closer, not threatening, just near enough that he could feel the warmth of her skin. Her hand hovered near his chest. "Our energy. It hums the same tune," she said softly. "Your presence. It pulls at something inside me." Tom stared at her, unsure if this was madness or something worse. "You think we're, what, soulmates?" he asked, half laughing. She didn't laugh back. "Your kind speaks of souls. We call it life weaving. Our kind can sense the bond, rare, ancient, but real." Tom didn't answer. He didn't know how. Then she said the words that silenced him. "Our souls are already joined." He blinked, unsure what to say. "But we just met." "Some bonds don't wait for time," she whispered. A long silence filled the cell. Tom turned away for a moment, running a hand through his messy hair. The hum behind the walls grew louder. "What does that mean?" he asked finally. "It means," Lyra said, "this cell is not our prison. It is our test." And somewhere, deep beyond the cell, something beeped. Asterisk, the test begins. Tom paced the small space. His boots echoed softly on the metal floor, each step sharp in the silence. Lyra sat on the bench, watching him, calm. Still, her glowing hair pulsed gently, like a heartbeat. "You keep saying this is a test. Tom said, frustrated. But a test for what? Compatibility? Emotion? Mating? Lyra looked up. All of that. And more. Tom stopped. You can't just drop something like our souls are joined and expect me to understand. I don't expect you to, she replied, but the bond exists. I feel it. And soon. You will too, he scoffed, leaning back against the cold wall. You sound so sure. Lyra stood slowly. She took a step toward him, not fast, not threatening, just deliberate. I don't lie, she said. In my people's history, when two souls weave like ours, the energy can be used for something greater, for healing, for power, or destruction. Tom raised an eyebrow. And how does that help us get out of here? Lyra looked at the wall, her golden eyes narrowing. Because they are watching. They want to see if we fight or connect. Tom followed her gaze. You said earlier you were part of a resistance. And I'm just a traitor. Why would they put us here? Lyra turned to face him. Because they want to weaponize the bond. Tom's heart dropped. Lyra explained, her voice calm and steady. The Dominion has studied energy links between species. Most fail, but rarely. There is a match between different kinds. When it happens, they try to control it. So we're lab rats, Tom said bitterly. No, she said. We are the spark they fear. That's why they isolate us. Tom walked over to the door and pounded his fist against it. Hey, we're not your experiment. No answer, only the hum returned. Lyra gently touched his arm. You're angry. That's normal, but you should also know. Your anger feeds the bond. He pulled away. What bond? You're talking like we're already connected. She didn't speak for a while. Then softly she asked, Do you dream? Tom blinked. Lately? Yes, since waking here. He nodded slowly. Yeah. I saw a forest. But I've never been to that place. There was light in the trees. A river. Her eyes widened. I saw it too. Tom froze. No way. I walked through that forest, Lyra said. But I wasn't alone. You were ahead. Always just out of reach. Tom's voice dropped. You said our souls are joined. She nodded. Then it's true, he whispered. Something's happening. Before Lyra could reply, the walls of the cell shimmered. The metal turned transparent, revealing a wide, dark chamber beyond. They weren't in a ship. They were inside a giant testing arena. Hundreds of dim red eyes blinked on in the shadows observers. Tom stepped back. What the hell? Lyra's voice was cold now. They're done watching from the dark. A deep voice echoed in their minds. Not through sound, but through thought. Phase 2 initiated. Reaction. Imminent. Then the cell door opened. With a hiss, Tom looked at Lyra Dot. She gave him a steady nod. Whatever happens, she said, we face it together. He picked up a metal bar from the bench, his only weapon. Lyra's hands glowed faintly with purple energy. Tom gave a dry chuckle. Locked in a cell with a stranger, and now I'm bonded to an alien. Not a stranger, she said, her voice soft. Not anymore. He looked at her one last time before stepping through the door. Together. Asterisk. The arena of proof. The floor changed under their feet. It wasn't cold metal anymore. It was a strange black stone, warm to the touch, humming, softly like a living thing. The air smelled faintly sweet, almost like blooming flowers, which made no sense in a place designed for testing prisoners. Tom and Lyra stepped cautiously out of the now transparent cell. The arena stretched far in all directions. No walls, no ceiling, just shadow. And watchers. Dozens of red-lit eyes blinked silently in the dark, belonging to species neither of them recognized. Above them, something mechanical spoke. Begin Phase 2, Combat Resonance Trial. Tom turned to Lyra, whispering, "Combat?" She nodded. Slowly, her glowing hair lifting with a faint breeze that didn't exist. "They want to test our bond." "Under pressure," she said. Suddenly, the floor rumbled. From the far side of the arena, 2 doors slid open. Something stepped out. No, multiple things. Creatures. 4-legged beasts with shining skin like metal, and mouths full of jagged teeth. Their eyes glowed with the same red light as the observers. Tom tightened his grip on the metal bar. Perfect. Giant robot wolves. Lyra stepped beside him, her hands glowing brighter now. "Don't fight alone," she said. "Focus on me." Tom glanced at her. "What do you mean?" "I'll show you." The beasts charged. Tom barely had time to react before one lunged straight at him. He swung his bar and struck it across the jaw, sending it tumbling, but it wasn't enough. It recovered fast. He braced for another hit when a wall of purple light appeared between him and the beast. Lyra stood behind him, arms raised. "You feel that?" she said. Tom blinked. He did. A pulse running from her into him. Strength. Calm. Focus. "What is this?" he asked. "The bond. Our souls channel each other's strength, but only if we trust." He nodded. Another beast leapt. This time, Tom dodged and slammed his bar into its side. Lyra sent a blast of energy into its chest, dropping it midair. Together, they moved like a single unit. Tom would swing, and Lyra would shield. Lyra would strike, and Tom would draw the beast's attention. The strange energy between them was like a current. They didn't have to speak. They felt each other's moves. "Behind," she called, spinning around just in time to shield Tom from a sneak attack. "Got it!" he yelled, smashing his weapon down on the last beast's back. The moment the creature fell, everything went still. The floor stopped rumbling. The air turned quiet. The observers blinked slowly. The mechanical voice returned. Combat resonance. Stable. Energy thread confirmed. Tom breathed heavily, sweat pouring down his face. His arm hurt, but he was still standing. Lyra looked winded but calm. A soft glow surrounded her hands, slowly fading. He turned to her, panting. "So ... That's what a joined soul can do?" She gave him a small smile. "That's only the beginning." Suddenly, another door opened. But this time, no monsters came through. Instead, a figure stepped out tall, with glowing armor and no face. A voice echoed from it, deep and full of authority. "Your performance is noted. The bond is genuine. Now the final test begins." Tom frowned. "Final?" The figure pointed at Lyra. She must choose. Keep the bond or sever it. Forever. Tom's stomach dropped. "What do you mean?" he asked, voice sharp. "If she chooses to keep it," the voice said, "you both will serve. As weapons, together, forever." "And if she severs it?" Tom asked again. The figure paused. "She lives. You forget." Tom turned to Lyra. "Wait. What's going on?" Lyra looked down, her voice quiet. "This is what they want. A soul weapon, but we don't have to give it to them." Tom stepped closer. "So what are you going to do?" She looked up at him, gold eyes shining. "I'm going to break their rules. Asterisk, to break the chains." Tom stared at Lyra, confused but trusting her more with each breath. "What do you mean, break their rules?" She turned to face the armored figure standing across the arena, her voice steady and calm. "You think our bond is yours to use, to bend, to control." The figure replied, "You are bound. The resonance is real. You have no choice." Lyra's eyes narrowed. "You're wrong. We choose what our bond means." The figure raised a hand. A painful pulse of energy hit them both, causing Tom to fall to his knees. Lyra stood, barely flinching, her body glowing brighter than before. Tom looked up at her. "Lyra, what's happening to you?" Her voice shook slightly, but her resolve didn't. "I'm not just part of the bond. I am its center." The armored figure stepped forward. "This is your last chance. Submit. Become our tools or—" The human dies. Tom tried to rise, but the pressure from the energy pulse kept him down. Lyra walked forward, eyes glowing white now. "You made one mistake," she said. The arena lights dimmed. "You assumed that you forged the connection, but the bond chose us, and we refused to be your weapons." Tom watched in awe as the energy around her swirled into a dome of bright light, shielding them both. The hum from the floor grew louder. The observers in the shadows shifted nervously. Some stood. Others disappeared into the dark. Then Lyra reached down and touched Tom's hand. In an instant, the energy passed into him. A rush of emotion and memory struck him all at once. Her people, her childhood, her pain, her hopes. He saw it all, and she saw his lonely days on Earth, his lost family, his dreams of peace and purpose. For the first time, neither of them felt alone. Tom stood. No longer weakened. The two of them faced the armored figure together. The light around them pulsed in rhythm like a heartbeat. "You wanted power?" Tom said. "You'll see it now." Lyra lifted both arms, but not the way you wanted. Their hands joined, and the arena floor cracked. A shockwave of energy burst from the center, spreading outward like a storm. The armored figure raised a shield, but it shattered. The watchers screamed and fled as the arena began to shake. Alarms rang. Walls split. The prison cracked like glass. A voice from above shouted, in panic, "Containment breach! Containment breach!" But it was too late. The bond between Tom and Lyra had turned into a force of its own, not one of control, one of choice. The ceiling exploded upward, revealing the starry sky beyond. Pieces of the arena floated as gravity bent and broke. The Dominions. Machines were no match for what had been awakened. Tom looked at Lyra, wind rushing past them. "Are we flying?" he asked in disbelief. "No," she said. "We're free." As they rose together above the collapsing prison, something shimmered behind them, a strange shape in space, like a doorway forming. Lyra turned toward it. "A portal," she said. "It's from my people. They've been searching for me." Tom grinned. "Good timing." Lyra glanced at him. "You don't have to come. You were only dragged into this by fate." Tom paused, then shook his head. "I think fate's done enough dragging. I choose to follow you." She smiled. Together, hand in hand, they flew through the shimmering portal, just as the prison imploded behind them. Darkness swallowed the Dominion base, and light carried the bonded souls to a new world. Asterisk. A world beyond chains. Light surrounded them as they passed through the portal, warm, golden, alive. Tom felt the air change around him. The smell of steel and smoke was gone, replaced by something clean, like rain on dry soil. When the light faded, they stood on soft grass. Tom blinked. A vast valley stretched before him, rolling hills covered in glowing blue trees, rivers of light running between them. The sky above was soft purple, with two suns resting on the horizon. "Where are we?" he asked quietly. Lyra took a deep breath, her face calmer than he'd ever seen it. "Home." A low hum echoed in the distance. Tom turned and saw a group of tall figures walking toward them, Lyra's people. Each one wore robes that shimmered in the light, their eyes glowing gold like hers. One of them stepped forward, an elder, by the lines on his face and the slow grace of his movements. He looked at Lyra, then at Tom. "The bond has awakened fully," the elder said. "You survived the Dominion's trap." "We did more than survive," Lyra answered firmly. We broke it, the elder nodded. And the human? Tom stepped forward. Still standing, the elder smiled. Then you are more than we hoped for. Tom gave Lyra a sideways glance. You guys were hoping for this? She nodded. For generations, my people believed a bond like ours could create something stronger. And war machines, something that could heal and protect. But the Dominion tried to twist that idea into a weapon. We've been searching for a real bond. A true one. Tom scratched his head. Well, guess I'm the lucky guy who got locked in a cell with the right alien. Lyra smiled. Or the right soul. The elder motioned for them to follow. There is much to understand. Your connection is powerful, but it's only just beginning. They walked down into the valley, following a glowing path made of small white stones. The trees whispered as they passed, their leaves glowing in waves, like soft music as they reached a small village. Beings of all sizes and colors greeted them. Some bowed. Others simply watched. Tom felt like every eye studied him, but not with fear, with wonder. Lyra led him to a small, round home built from lightstone and living roots. This will be your place, she said gently. Our place? He asked. She hesitated. If you want it to be. Tom looked at her, really looked. Despite everything, the cell, the monsters, the near-death battles, this was the first time she looked uncertain. He stepped closer. You said our souls were? Joined. But I want to make sure this is your choice too. Lyra's voice softened. It always has been? Tom nodded. Then I want this place to be ours. She smiled, eyes gleaming. That night, they sat outside their new home, watching the twin moons rise over the valley. The stars above looked different here, but somehow they felt familiar. Tom turned to her. You ever think about what's next? Lyra tilted her head. What do you mean? We escaped. We're free. But that Dominion thing, it's still out there. She looked up at the sky. Then maybe it's time we stop running. Together, we're stronger than they ever expected. Maybe now, it's time they run from us. Tom smirked. Now that sounds more like the woman I met in that cell. They laughed. A bond had formed in darkness, but now it glowed brighter than the stars above. For the first time in both their lives, the future was wide open. Asterisk, a heart that fights. The days in the valley passed gently. Tom learned quickly that Lyra's world was not as peaceful as it first seemed. Though the air was clean and the skies calm, the shadow of the Dominion stretched. Far even here. Scouts arrived almost daily. News of destroyed outposts, captured villages. Others weren't as lucky as Tom and Lyra. But now, hope had a face. Two of them. Lyra trained with her people again, no longer as a lost warrior, but as a beacon of resistance. Her bond with Tom had changed everything. Their energy together wasn't just strong. It was alive, responsive, like a tide waiting for command. One evening, while walking through the gardens near their home, Tom noticed she was unusually quiet. You're thinking again, he said. Lyra gave a small nod. I've been asked to lead a mission, a dangerous one. Let me guess, Tom said, half smiling. They want both of us. They want the bond. But yes, they need us. Tom sat down on a flat stone. What's the target? A relay. Outpost on the edge of Dominion space, Lyra said. It controls communication across 5 systems. If we take it down, they lose control in this quadrant. Tom leaned forward. How well protected? She answered simply, too well. Tom chuckled dryly. Sounds like they need a miracle. They have something better, Lyra said softly. Us. He met her gaze. Her eyes weren't glowing, but they didn't need to. He saw her heart. She wasn't fearless. She just refused to give in. He stood and reached for her hand. Asterisk, you said we're stronger together, he said. Let's prove it. 2 nights later, they flew aboard a stealth shuttle with a small strike team. It was quiet inside, everyone watching Lyra and Tom closely. There was no command barked, no plan read aloud. They had all seen the bond in action. Now they were following something deeper. Faith. Tom checked his ear. Not much. Just a compact plasma rifle, a scanner, and one personal energy shield. He looked over at Lyra. She wore light armor etched with glowing lines. Matching his now? You ready? He asked. Lyra nodded. Always with you. Asterisk. As the shuttle neared the relay station, the pilot called back. We'll drop you 5 clicks. From the outer ring. No ships can land closer without triggering alarms. Lyra stepped toward the exit ramp. Tom followed. Asterisk. When the hatch opened, cold wind hit their faces. The landscape below was rocky, full of shadows and towers. The Dominion. Base looked like a wound in the ground, dark, mechanical, and cruel. They landed silently, feet sinking into gray dust. The sky overhead flickered with orbital sensors. They moved fast, like they'd done it for years. Lyra whispered, "Stay behind the rocks. If their drones scan us, we're done." Tom scanned. Ahead, 2 guards at the western gate. I can take left. No, Lyra said, touching his arm. We do it together. Tom nodded. Together, then. The 2 of them moved like one. She disabled the sensor node while he fired a clean stun blast. Both guards dropped. The rest of the team advanced behind them. Inside the station, they split into 2 squads. Lyra and Tom went. For the relay core, they entered a narrow hall lined with pulsing red lights. As they neared the main control door, a Dominion commander stepped out, taller than both, armored in black, with a glowing blade in each hand. Tom raised his weapon, but Lyra held him back. No guns, she said. They want to see the bond. The commander rushed forward, blade spinning. Tom ducked left. Lyra moved right. In perfect sync, they dodged every strike. Tom's foot caught the commander's leg. Lyra followed with a glowing fist into the enemy's chest, sending him crashing. Into the wall. The enemy didn't move again. They entered the control room, slammed a device into the relay core, and planted the code. System locked, Tom said. Countdown initiated. Lyra nodded. Time to go. As alarms rang, they sprinted out into the storm above. A Dominion cruiser arrived too late. The station exploded behind them as they reached the extraction zone, back aboard the shuttle. Bruised but smiling, Tom leaned back against the wall. You still think the bond was just a mistake? He asked her. Lyra smiled. No, I think it was destiny. Asterisk, our souls, our war. The Dominion was angry. After the relay station's destruction, their ships doubled in every sector. Broadcasts declared Tom and Lyra enemies of galactic order. Wanted posters, distorted with menace, spread to neutral systems. The galaxy knew their names now not as criminals, but as symbols. Symbols of defiance, of unity, of a bond no prison could break. Back in the valley, Lyra and Tom stood before a crowd of gathered warriors, alien rebels, former slaves, ex-soldiers from dozens of worlds. They came from scattered systems, united by one thing, hope. Tom glanced at Lyra. Her armor shimmered brighter than ever, lines pulsing faintly with that strange energy between them. He still didn't fully understand how it worked, but he knew this. It was real. It made him stronger. It made them whole. The elder stepped forward, addressing the crowd. We once believed the bond was myth, that 2 souls could not unite across species, that the Dominion would always win. But now look. He raised his hand toward Tom and Lyra. Human and Ilari, not only bonded, but fighting back. Together. Tom stepped up beside Lyra. I'm not from a warrior world, he said loudly. I didn't grow up with weapons or armor. I just delivered freight and fixed broken machines. But I've seen something the Dominion fears more than Fleet's choice. He paused. I didn't choose to be captured. I didn't choose to be tested like an animal, but I did choose her, and she chose me. And together, we're choosing to fight. Not for power, for freedom. The crowd erupted with cheers. Not loud, not wild, but deep. A rising wave of voices bound by purpose. That night, the stars above the valley shimmered with ships small and scattered. But many, the fleet was ready. A week later, war began. United rebels launched their assault on a Dominion Command Nexus 1 of the largest in their outer empire. It hovered in orbit above a planet stripped of life, its core made of machines and weapons. Tom and Lyra led the first strike dot as they approached in their modified cruiser. Tom looked at her from the pilot's seat. You nervous? She shook her head. I'm focused. He smiled. Good. I'll panic for both of us. She laughed quietly. Just stay close. Always. Their cruiser weaved through enemy fire, moving like a living thing. The bond didn't just link their minds anymore, it guided the ship. It was the ship. The systems responded to their emotions, their sync, their trust. They dodged 2 heavy plasma shots and dove into the station's hangar. The others followed, pouring into the heart of minion power. Lyra and Tom moved through metal corridors lit by red alarms. Soldiers fired. Drones attacked. But nothing slowed them. Their steps matched. Their strikes flowed. When Lyra leapt, Tom covered. When Tom shielded, Lyra struck. Every blow from the Dominion was answered by 2 souls moving as one. They reached the core. Pulsing dark energy in a cage of silver. Tom pulled the charge from his pack. You sure this works? He asked. Lyra grinned. We built it together. He nodded. Right. That means if it fails, we both take the blame. She stepped forward, laying her hand on the core. It won't fail. The energy surged. The bond between them pulsed so bright, the Dominion system sparked and went dark. The station trembled. Outside, rebel ships overwhelmed the Dominion forces. Inspired by what they saw, by the impossible happening in real time, Tom and Lyra ran as explosions ripped through the walls. They reached their ship just as the entire command center collapsed behind them in fire and light. Back in orbit, they watched from a safe distance. It was gone. Tom exhaled. We actually did it. Lyra leaned her head on his shoulder. No, we didn't. All of us did. He smiled. Still, I'm glad I was locked in that cell. She turned to him. Why? Because that's where I found you. She took his hand. No, that's where we found each other. Far across the stars, the Dominion's leaders screamed in fear. Not because of fleets. Not because of weapons. But because a single human and a single alien had proven that the most dangerous force in the galaxy was love. The end.